Ever since I could remember, I've always wanted a DeLorean. I'm taking my mom's word for it, but this is a photo of me watching Back to the Future in the 1980s. I had this one Back to the Future shirt that I was wearing practically every single day. If I wasn't wearing it, it was because it was in the washer. Kids today are not privy to the problems 80s kids had growing up, specifically in regards to Back to the Future merchandise, apparel. You couldn't just walk into a store and buy a Back to the Future shirt. So if you had a Back to the Future shirt or a toy Back to the Future car, you treasured it, and for me that meant wearing it as often as I could. Today you could walk into a store and buy a Back to the Future shirt or a Matchbox Back to the Future DeLorean, and it's easy. Or just go on Amazon and you could buy it. But in 1989, it was a little hard to come by. As you can see, I've had a little bit of an obsession with Back to the Future. Jump forward to 2006. It's finally time for me to buy a DeLorean. After about 3 months of searching, I find one. A widow is selling her husband's car. It's sitting in the garage for a little while. It's a 1982 stainless steel DeLorean, gray interior, manual transmission, flat style hood, about 35,000 miles. The stainless steel is mostly perfect. The interior needed a little bit of work. The headliner was sagging, the seats were ripped, the dash was cracked and discolored, but it started, and it was a DeLorean, and she only wanted $17,500, which was within my budget at the time. So test drove it, had another fellow DeLorean owner come and take a look at it and give his sign of approval that it was a good DeLorean worth getting. So I got it, and I couldn't be happier. I drove it, fixed the seat liners, the headliner, those little things. But then I started to have some mechanical issues. The AC wasn't blowing cold. Okay, in the Florida heat, that's not the greatest thing. The brakes were extremely soft. To give you an idea, I would go on the off ramp of 95 southbound on Ivers Dairy in Miami, and that is a pretty steep incline. And every single time I went on that exit, I would be praying that the car wasn't just going to start rolling back and hit the car behind me. I would even pull the emergency brake up just so that I had like an extra layer of security that the car wasn't going to roll back before the light turned green. It was scary. So I got that fixed. Then the clutch started slipping, had to get that replaced. Car started overheating, had to fix the fans. The fuel pump had issues. It started to have cold start issues, ultimately some hot start issues as well. It just had problem over problem. It just kept on compounding, and the worst part of it was I couldn't just fix all of this because it's expensive, but the problems happened in little pockets. So like the clutch would start slipping, so then I would send it to DeLorean Motor Company in Bonita Springs, which is about a 2-hour drive from Miami, and they would replace the clutch, and I'll be back on my way. Then a month later, it would start overheating. Send it back. This is on a flatbed, and then I gotta get a ride back over there to go pick it up. So I probably made 4 or 5 trips in a matter of 2 years to get the car fixed. It became a huge burden to drive that car. Going to work and the car overheating and then not being able to make it to work, or getting to work but then having to worry about how I'm going to get home and get the car fixed. It just wasn't fun. So in 2009, I decided to sell the car. I listed it on DMC Talk for $13,500, less than what I paid for it, and significantly less when you count the money I put into it. I was looking for a quick sale at the time. It was the recession, and I just needed a new car that I could get to work in. So I sold it for $13,500. Regrettably, I sold it too cheap. A guy in England ended up buying it, sight unseen. He just had a tow truck or shipping company come to my house. They put it on their flatbed and they shipped it overseas, and that was the last I saw it. I did hear from him about 2 months later that the engine had a small fire. This is a very common DeLorean problem because the cars are mostly original and people don't replace certain parts that should be replaced. In this case, the fuel lines. If you have original fuel lines in the car, it's extremely dangerous. The DeLorean Motor Company actually won't even sell you a car anymore without you signing a waiver saying you understand the risk. And that's because there's been a couple instances where the whole car caught on fire and then it got on social media, and it's not good. Dangerous. And you're just ruining the car. So I sold the car and got a new car, and I didn't have any of these troubles again, which was nice. But then about 3 years later, in 2012, I started to get the itch again. I needed a DeLorean. And I quickly forgot about all the grief that I had driving a DeLorean. I refused to believe that a DeLorean is not a good car, like I keep getting told. But then it occurred to me, the problem was that I actually didn't want a DeLorean. I had a DeLorean, and it wasn't what I imagined it would be owning one. And the reason why was, my whole life, I didn't grow up wanting a DeLorean. I wanted a DeLorean time machine. My obsession was with Back to the Future. So, if I was going to get another DeLorean, I'd have to be 100% committed to making a DeLorean time machine and making it as screen accurate as possible, within reason. So, I set on a mission to find the DeLorean that I would convert into a time machine. And there was a couple things that I had on my list for my future DeLorean. It had to be in daily driving condition, so I wanted not to have to deal with parts breaking over and over and over again. I wanted a 1981 stainless steel, obviously, gray interior, manual transmission, so that it would be, perfect from a DeLorean time machine conversion standpoint. The one additional element that I really wanted was a gas flap hood. Now, the DeLorean in Back to the Future did not have a gas flap hood, but the convenience factor of having a gas flap hood, and the way the hood looks, I think is just a lot better. So that was what I wanted. So I started searching for a DeLorean. I find one on eBay for $17,500, the same price that I paid for mine in 2006. And what I've quickly realized is the price of DeLoreans have started to skyrocket. And I can make a whole video about this, and if you're interested, let me know in the comments. But today, $17,500 doesn't get you what it used to get you only 5-6 years ago. This car for example, was dented. The frame looks like it was rotted. The interior was in very bad condition. The car doesn't start. It would cost a lot of money to get that fixed, and headaches as well. So that wasn't the DeLorean for me. So then I keep searching, and I don't have much luck. What I later find out is a 1981 DeLorean, stainless steel, manual transmission, gray interior with a gas flap hood, just so happens to be one of the rarest DeLoreans combinations ever created. Approximately 158 DeLoreans had that exact combination out of approximately 9,000 DeLoreans. So what I find out is that I'm looking for a DeLorean that may never show up. And on top of all that, it needs to be one of those 158 DeLoreans that is also in daily driving condition. So that makes that pool of 158 even smaller. So after 7 years of searching for the perfect DeLorean, one comes up for sale by the DeLorean Motor Company in Houston. It has 10,000 miles. It has the brakes redone, the electrical system redone, the entire fuel system redone, etc., etc., etc. They put about $25,000 worth of restoration into the car. The previous owner kept it in a museum in Texas. So the car was immaculate. So I quickly realized that I'm probably not going to be able to find another car like this due to the rarity. So this had to be the car. Now, I didn't really want to fly out to Houston to go buy it either. So what I ended up doing was I got on a Hangouts chat with James Espy of the DeLorean Motor Company. And what he ended up doing was, using his phone, he walked me around the car, showed me little imperfections here and there.
I don't know if you can see the spot there.
Yeah, I see it.
And this here.
Okay.
Each of the wheels, and I'll show you them individually, has some flaking in the paint.
Okay. Took it for a little drive outside, and right there and then I knew that I didn't need to see anything further. This was the DeLorean. So I had them put it on a truck for me and drive it over, and I bought it sight unseen without touching it, test driving it, just some photos and a webcam chat. now I'm a DeLorean owner again. And over the next months, years, I'm not sure if the journey of creating a DeLorean time machine that is 100% screen accurate ever actually ends. I will be documenting my journey of becoming a DeLorean time machine owner, and I hope you join me. See you guys in the future or the past. Thanks.